So let's look a little bit further at setting. As I had defined earlier, a setting is simply any physical environment where the person is. But the way that I like to microanalyze a person's experience in their setting is by attempting to identify how they're experiencing their sensory world, through their sound, through sight, through smell, through taste, through touch. What I understand about most people with an autism spectrum disorder is that they experience hypersensitivity or hyposensitivity. Hypersensitivity meaning overstimulated, and hyposensitivity meaning understimulated, and that can be in relation to any one of the senses. So let's take, for example, sound. So if I'm talking about a person who has hypersensitivity to sound, it's fair to understand that they're going to hear something to a lot greater extent than a person without that same hypersensitivity. So an example of that is a lady that I worked with who lived in a high-rise apartment at Surfers Paradise, and she was able to hear word for word every conversation, every TV station, and every radio program that was heard in the 3 units below her, the units beside her, and the 3 above her. You can understand from that how her experience of the world would create such a heightened level of anxiety, because she's unable to discriminate what sounds are important for her and what's not. She's unable to block out the sounds that are out of her control. Or another boy, he was able to report back to his parents conversations word for word that were happening in their good friend's house they were living 3 houses away. Or another boy who I worked with, his parents were at one end of the house discussing what they were going to buy their son for Christmas, thinking that he was sound asleep in his bed at the other end of the house. And before they know it, he comes running down and says, I want the blue bike, not the red bike. There's sounds or degrees of volume that most of us would be unable to hear. But because of the hypersensitivity to sound, it's increasing that person's experience of hearing things a lot louder than other people. It's often this hypersensitivity to sound that will often get people misdiagnosed with schizophrenia as well, because they're often reported to hear voices, but for most of us who can't hear those same level of voices, then they'll often receive that misdiagnosis.